Hello, and welcome to this edition of Upfront. I'm your host, Nancy Wilmot. For as long as I've lived in this community, it has been a city in transition, making that transition from a one industry town, from a forestry town, to a more diversified economy. That's been a lot of changes. One of those changes is that it's no longer a guarantee that you can leave high school at any point and walk into a high paying job. And that's one of the reasons, just one of the reasons, why I'm really delighted to introduce today's guest, Terry Deakin, owner and manager of Ineo Employment Services. Terry, welcome to Upfront.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. It's so nice to be here with you today.
Well, it's always good to have a conversation with you. You've always been involved with so many things in this community. How did you get involved with employment services? Because that's a fairly specialized career for you.
It is, and thanks for asking. It was really interesting how I got involved. I was working for the Association of Community Living and working with a fellow by the name of Mike Roberts. Service Canada had asked Community Living to write a response to a proposal for working with people with barriers to employment, and Community Living decided that was not their mandate. And so Mike Roberts said, Terry, why don't we write a proposal? And I was like, okay, so we did. And then Service Canada said, okay, you got it. And then we were like, oh, now what? Now what do we do? So we both quit our jobs and started Ineo Employment Services and ran a pilot project for Service Canada for about a year and a half. And the pilot project ended, at which point Mike Roberts, who is now a school teacher at ADSS, sold me his share of the business for $1, and I continued to grow the business. And that was in 1998, so almost 23 years ago now.
Holy cow. To me, that's very interesting that it actually originated with Service Canada. There was a seemed to be a need for this kind of service. And over the years, have you continued to work closely with Service Canada?
I work off and on with Service Canada, but mostly with the provincial government because federal government has paid transfer dollars to the province, and the province is now in charge of providing employment services to the province as they see fit.
And is the need for employment services pretty much steady all the time, or is there an ebb and flow, or is it sometimes more of a demand?
Since I began 22 years ago, it has been uh, a steady need. There's always been a need. So, like you were talking about the transition that Port Alberni has been going through, we've been going through it for a long, long time. Sometimes unemployment is really high, sometimes it drops. However, there are always a group of people who struggle to find and maintain employment. And those are the people that I really love working with.
And would these be primarily youth or not necessarily?
That's an interesting question. So it's always been people of all ages. And right now, the government has specific target populations. So there's a number of different under groups that are underrepresented in the labor market. So women, Indigenous people, uh, young adults at risk, older workers, so that would be 55 plus, individuals who have experienced trauma. So there's a whole variety of different target groups, and the government has put money into services for all those different groups right now.
And over the years, there have been a number of times when there has been a particularly high number of layoffs in the forestry industry, and there is a push for retraining. Is that something that is done through you as well?
Yes, to a certain degree. So we have Work BC Center here in the Valley, and we have had different programs throughout a couple of different ministries, actually. So Ministry of Skills, uh, Ministry of Advanced Education Skills Training, Ministry of Social Development, and Ministry of Jobs and Tourism. So they've all kind of input money at different times that can go towards retraining, upgrading skills, new apprenticeship training. There's all sorts of different funding available for people. So it's just a matter of where we can fit. We try to fit the people into the holes that the ministry has, provincial government has put forward for us.
And how do people access your services? Do they just come through the front door?
Yes, absolutely. Our door is always open. Well, through COVID, it's changed a little bit, but we are always here. You can phone us. You can walk through the door. Especially people who struggle in finding employment. Sometimes walking through the door is the easiest thing for them to do, um, and or be referred by another agency. We work really closely with the other service agencies in the community so that we can. Um, provide access for people where they feel most comfortable.
And you're talking about employment services, helping people find that job. But there's got to be a gap because you can fill out the resume, you can or fill out the application, help them with all of that, but they need experience. How do they gain that experience? I'm leading you on here, Terry, because I kind of know the answer.
That's a great question, and that's something that I'm really super excited about. And you're right, there's more to it than just filling out a resume and having that ready to go. It's also building up that confidence and that personal skill development, the communication, the teamwork, all those different kinds of things that come into play for employment. So we have classroom training where individuals spend a great deal of time in the classroom with other individuals and with a facilitator, learning those personal development skills, life skills, and employability skills. And the most exciting piece for me is now that we can provide hands-on work experience for people through our social enterprises. So we have two different social enterprises where people can get a variety of experience.
And I do think this is so exciting, Terry, because this is a gap and you've created businesses that are social enterprise that are self sustaining that can continue on to actually let these folks work for a business, work for an employer, and have something on their resume. And the first one you started was Recycle Matters. Tell me about that one.
Yes, so Recycle Matters, we started as a pilot project similar to Ineo through a job creation partnership with the Ministry of Social Development. And it's a mattress recycling facility. And everybody says, why did you get into mattress recycling? And I was like, well, I never had a huge desire to recycle mattresses. However, it's something that allows people to learn a variety of skills. So it's delivery, it's pickup, it's processing. So we actually pick up the mattresses and we break them down, and then we sell off different components of the mattresses. So the metal can be sold, the fabric and the foam can be sold. We have a market in Vancouver, and people get experience in doing all those different things. There's driving, there's loading, unloading, there's teamwork skills. So they're in the classroom and then they come and into the mattress recycling facility, and they're able to apply the things that they're learning in the classroom to the actual work environment. So they have to show up on time, they have to be ready for work, they have to have their tools and their work clothing, they have to be able to know that, this is when I'm allowed to have a break, this is when I cannot be on my cell phone, all those kinds of things that sometimes get in the way of people being successful in employment, that we're able to provide a safe environment for them to learn and then transition out into the mainstream workforce.
This is so exciting, Terry. And I just want to make sure that the viewers at home understand these are paid positions. They're not volunteering to work recycling mattresses. Am I correct?
You're right. Yes. So they are paid positions. We have a full-time manager, a young man who is coming up as a supervisor, and we have two, three full-time positions and a couple of part-time positions that are paid positions. And even the folks who come in and do work experience, they get paid a training allowance while they're doing their work experience.
And you mentioned classroom. While they're working at the mattress recycling facility, are they still taking training classes? Like is it all together or is it one or the other?
Uh, No, so the people who are employed and they're full-time, they're employees and they only come to work. The people who are in the work experience component, they are participating in any one of our groups of programs. They're able to do work experience at the mattress recycling, but we do have a classroom that is attached to the mattress recycling facility. So we have a program called their Dual, which is developing unique uh, abilities for labor market attachment, and that's works hand in hand with the mattress recycling. So they learn in the classroom 2 days a week and they work in the facility 3 days a week.
Wow. Now, I actually had a chance to go out and chat with one of the young people that is working at the mattress recycling facility. So let's take a look at that video now.
I've been working here for about over 2 months, and I came here. First, I was in this dual program about sometime last year, and they asked me to come and help them about over 2 months ago. So I came and helped, and then they hired me about a week or two afterwards. But yeah, it has been good now, good for me working here. So we have to just cut beds apart and take them piece by piece, like the foam and the textile and everything, and then we pile them up. And some we throw in the garbage, and then some people come and collect the foam after we put in the other side in the bathing room. We started in 7 in the morning, but since we had this heat, we've been starting at 6 now. I've been working before. I did some yard work for some people and did a little bit of newspaper. This is much harder. This I have to lift every day, come and work early, and work in hot days, cold days, rainy days. There's great people, a great boss, and just a great environment to be in.
It was just such a pleasure to talk with him. He was obviously excited about the work he's doing. Is his experience pretty typical of the folks that come through, not just Ineo, but this work facility?
So I need to say that there's nothing typical about any of the people that we see. Everybody is so unique and everybody has a story and everybody has a variety of skills and abilities and are experiencing a number of different barriers. And it could be anything from education to family situation to substance use to mental health to physical health to or just never having had an opportunity to be able to enter into the workforce, and so not knowing what it's all about. So everybody is unique in their own way, and we absolutely love working with the population that we work with.
I'm guessing that this had to be a learning experience for you too. I mean, you've run employment training for over 20 years and suddenly you are an employer. Did you find anything out about what you needed to be teaching?
Yeah, huge, because my experience was with employing professionals who were job coaches, facilitators, and now employing people in a whole different skill set has been challenging and difficult. A huge learning experience for me, operating a business that is earning money to be a business, right? So it's the whole thing has been a learning curve over the right from the get-go, and I'm excited about always being able to learn.
And you're definitely continuing to learn, Terry, because you went from the mattress recycling facility and you now have a retail store that you also run as a social enterprise, Animal Ark.
Yes, that it's very, very new to me. Retail sales is something like even still, we've had it for just over almost 2 months now. So May 1st, and even now when I walk in the store and somebody asks me a question, because I look like I'm standing behind the counter, but I don't really know a lot about retail sales. But I have a fabulous manager over there who has been retail and customer service for many years. And I'm really, really excited because she is so stoked about being able to provide work experience for individuals and to be able to share her knowledge and experience in the customer service and retail sales and getting people trained so they can go out in our community and be good customer service representatives.
Well, I actually worked retail for years, and it is one of the toughest jobs that there is. I seriously think that everybody, before they are granted a university degree or any kind of post-secondary degree, should have to work retail for at least 6 months because it is a tough job. You gain a new kind of appreciation, and certainly it's excellent training for these folks going through. You always have had this passion for working with people. And I know you've also always had a passion for working with the homeless, for folks that face those specific challenges. And you are embarking on something right now, coordinating with the Shelter Society. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, that's such a fun project and so exciting to see that we're getting results from that project already. So, with the Ministry of Advanced Ed, they had economic recovery funding that they put out. So, I put in a proposal and got it, and to work with individuals who are experiencing homelessness or are precariously housed. And that's a large population in not just in Port Alberni and all over Vancouver Island, all over the province. It's a challenge. And the project is working with the shelter farm, like you said. And so we've purchased a van so that we have transportation, and there is no barrier to anybody coming into that program. So it doesn't matter if they're in active substance use or have, mental health that's impacting their daily living. Um, they have nowhere to live, they can still come to this program. So they're actually being paid minimum wage. We pick them up, we take them out to the shelter farm. We have a driver and we have a very experienced farm worker who works with them and also helps connect them to services in the community. So they're being paid from anywhere from 2 to 5 hours a day, depending on how much they are able to work. And we provide their transportation back and forth. The Salvation Army and the Warming Center have been really gracious in providing lunches for those folks every day. So it's a kind of a three-way partnership. And the people are experiencing results already. So one fellow got offered housing because he had a job to go to, and two people have picked up permanent employment outside of the Shelter Farm project. So it's seeing results already, and it's so exciting for people.
Terry, this sounds like an absolute game changer. I have spoken with other people that work with homeless, with folks facing addiction challenges, and very often one of the big barriers to employment is their ability to get up every morning and get to work at the same time, because Monday and Tuesday might be great, but Wednesday you might just kind of things go sideways and you're not able to get back to work. But this is like having a labor pool where if they're able to work they can put up their hand and yes they have work, and that's so wonderful for self-esteem for so much. I mean, it's more than just a job, isn't it?
It is, and it can be a little bit challenging in kind of scheduling the people because, like you said, I'm ready to work today, but tomorrow I don't feel so good, so I'm not able to go to work, or we just can't find somebody. But typically, we have about 12 people on the roster, and we are able to take 6 out at a time. So and yes, it is a game changer for them. And it's so rewarding just to watch the growth in people and see the confidence and the self-esteem build up. Like, hey, I can contribute, even though I may not have a place to live, or even though other areas of my life might not be going the way I want them to. Having this job is going to enable me to start looking at how can I live better.
I just listened to you talking about this, Terry, and you are so passionate about this. You care about this so much. Where do you get this, I don't know, this well of energy and optimism? What keeps you fueled?
Oh, that's a really good question. And really, I'm not sure. But I know that I came through my own struggles throughout my life. I had a time where I was homeless. I had a time where I experienced addiction and had to overcome those challenges. And people gave me a chance. People gave me an opportunity, and I just want to be able to pay that back and give as many people an opportunity as I can and help them to be able to move forward.
Well, holy cow, Terry, you are like an inspiration. You are a walking, talking inspiration. And I've spoken to over the years many people that have worked with you at Ineo, and they all have that same kind of energy and drive to be present and help and assist people as they take this next step in their life. And it's so exciting. You've got 2, kind of 3 social the shelter farm, I can't really call your shelter, your social enterprise, but you've got 2 social enterprises you're running. You're involved with the shelter farm. You have the employment agency. What's next? Are you gonna take over this town and it's all gonna be Ineoville?
it I really hope to keep going. I have 2 other social enterprises that I want to put on the books. One is involved woodworking and utilizing the wood that we have from our mattress recycling facility. And I actually have 3 on the books. Somebody approached me about another recycle one, so I'm looking at that. And then pie making. I would love to do a pie making social enterprise for people with disabilities to have them be able to make pies and sell them, and work with the Gleaning Project to do that. Because I think the more that we partner in the community, the more that we are able to lift up our community to be a great place to live.
Well, let me just say, Terry Deacon, that the community is lucky to have you here doing this. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. I'm just so, I just love it. And I will just keep going, doing as much as I can.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Upfront. We'll see you next time.